Have you tried rewatching one of your childhood movies on a streaming service like Disney Plus and felt like something was a little off, different, or missing? Not quite how you remember it? What if the magic wasn't just in the movie, but in the way we watched it? If you grew up in the 80s, 90s, or even the early 2000s, you likely experienced Disney movies on VHS, viewed through the soft, flickering screen of a CRT television. It wasn't just about the movie, it was the whole atmosphere. The VHS tape, the chunky plastic clamshell case it came in, the soft glow of a CRT TV, and the low mechanical hum of a VCR warming up. VCR, that's short for a video cassette recorder, was the device that brought it all to life. You'd slide in your VHS tape, which stood for Video Home System, and watch the screen flicker as the movie spun to life on a CRT, a cathode ray tube television, with its curved glass and warm analog glow. Before the movie even started, there was a build-up. The static, the sound of the tape spinning, and maybe even a few nostalgic previews for other Disney classics coming soon to own on video cassette. And of course, the voice you heard in those previews, the one that made everything sound epic and magical, was Mark Elliott. He was the iconic voiceover artist for Disney from 1977 to 2008. Narrating almost every preview and advertisement you remember.
These and many other classic Disney moments on video are all a part of the Disney Masterpiece Collection.
From Walt Disney Home Video, sound the trumpets. Something very special is coming.
It's all of life's magical moments in one irresistible Disney classic. And now, our feature presentation.
Mark Elliott passed away in 2021. But his voice lives on in the memories of everyone who grew up hearing him introduce the magic. I'm focusing specifically on Disney because, for many of us, it defined our childhood. And now that Disney Plus is one of the top streaming platforms, offering nearly all of its classic films, it feels like the perfect subject for nostalgic comparison. This isn't about bashing streaming services or saying VHS is better than Disney Plus. It's not even a competition. It's simply a comparison, meant to highlight a feeling you might have forgotten. Not better, not worse, just different. Here's what made it different. Today, streaming platforms like Disney Plus make it effortless to access almost every Disney classic with a single click. But back then, getting a Disney movie on VHS was a bigger deal. You might have rented it from your local video store, or received it as a birthday or holiday gift. And Disney knew how to make them feel even more special. They'd announced that certain movies were going back into the Disney Vault, meaning you wouldn't be able to buy them again for years. It made owning one feel urgent, like holding a piece of magic before it disappeared.
Don't you wish you bought Pinocchio when you had the chance? Wouldn't you love to have Lady and the Tramp in your collection? Now they're gone. And time's running out for Cinderella, too. But you still have a chance to own Disney's most celebrated animated masterpiece. It's Bambi. Still available, but for a very limited time.
Hun, you better hurry up.
Don't let Bambi get away.
After March 31st, Disney will stop selling this timeless classic. Hurry, this Easter is your last chance to add Bambi to your collection before it disappears for years to come. Available from Disney only until March 31st.
Classics that will forever stay in your heart. But if you'd like them to forever stay in your home, you have to act fast. Because Disney will stop selling The Fox and the Hound and Snow White.
Oh.
It's your last chance for all the fun, adventure, and romance that your family will enjoy forever. And now's the only time you can add these classics to your collection before they disappear from video stores. A special announcement from Walt Disney Home Video. For those of you who haven't bought The Lion King and Cinderella on video, Disney will stop selling these classics in just a few weeks.
Good heavens!
This is your last chance to buy these two great Disney videos.
Time out! Let me get this straight.
You may never be able to buy them again.
And you never told us?
Buy the Disney classic videos Cinderella and The Lion King while you still can. Because once they're gone, they're gone.
Run, Poopa, move it!
Take a second. Which Disney VHS comes to mind first? Not necessarily your favorite Disney movie, but the one that you watched the most. Maybe it was the one you put on before bed, or the one your grandparents kept at their house, the one that you always watched during visits. Maybe it wasn't even your favorite. Just the one your siblings loved so much that they played it over and over, slowly wearing out the tape. Back then, you didn't have hundreds of titles to scroll through. Maybe you owned 10 movies, maybe fewer, but they weren't just movies. They were yours, and they meant something. But having the tape was only the beginning. It was what came next that really shaped the experience. Watching a movie on VHS was an instant. You didn't just click play, there was a whole process. You'd slide the tape into the VCR and wait for that familiar click, the soft static, the faint hum of spinning reels. Sometimes you had to rewind it first, because whoever watched it last didn't bother. Then came the previews, and they weren't skippable, at least not easily. You watched them every time. Trailers for movies you already owned, and others you'd beg your parents to buy next. Then finally, the Walt Disney home video intro. The blue screen, the castle, the logo sparkles, that music, you could feel the excitement building even before the movie begun. And when it did, you weren't just watching, you were settling in. Maybe on the carpet, maybe under a blanket, maybe with cereal or juice or popcorn from a plastic bowl. You watched it all the way through. You committed. It wasn't a background noise, it was movie time. And everything else stopped. Looking back, it wasn't just about the movie itself, it was about the ritual, the build-up, the shared space, the feeling of being present, even if you've seen it 100 times before. And maybe that's what we're really remembering. Not just the story on the screen, but the experience that surrounded it. Visually, VHS was different. If you compare it side by side with today's digital remasters, you'll notice it immediately. Modern versions are clean, almost too clean. Razor sharp lines, ultra smooth frames, every detail exposed in perfect clarity. But VHS softened everything. It added a subtle blur, a gentle glow, a kind of analog warmth that smoothed out the rough edges and wrapped each frame in a soft haze. It wasn't just lower quality, it was a different texture altogether. That dreamy blur wasn't just because of old TV screens or low resolution. Over time, the magnetic tape itself would wear down and lose signal strength, adding even more softness and warmth to every rewatch. And while that texture was technically a limitation, a byproduct of old VCRs, worn tapes, and glowing CRT screens, it ended up doing something kind of beautiful, especially for hand-drawn 2D cell animation. The grain, the fuzz, the slight color bleeding, it all blended the artwork together in a way that felt dreamlike. Shadows melted into highlights, brushstrokes faded into each other, and everything had this gentle softness to it, almost like watching a memory in motion. It wasn't intentional, no one designed it that way, but in a strange, accidental way, VHS became a kind of filter, one that enhanced the magic of those classic Disney animations. Compare the same scene digitally and on VHS, and you'll feel it. The digital version is pristine, but the VHS version feels lived in, warmer, closer. By the way, most of the movie clips you've seen in this video were recorded by me, directly from the actual Disney VHS tapes I own. I connected my old VCR to my computer using a capture card device to preserve the real texture and warmth of VHS. Sure, it probably would have been easier to just find these movie scenes online, but that wouldn't feel right. I didn't want to rely on filters or video editing effects to fake the VHS quality. It just wouldn't be the same. Talking about these movies as VHS experiences and then showing you Blu-ray copies in perfect HD clarity wouldn't feel right. The slight fuzz, the soft flicker, the authentic glow, That's what VHS actually looked and felt like. And I wanted to share exactly that with you. It's not about which one is better, it's about the emotional weight that comes with imperfection. VHS didn't just show you the movie, it interpreted it through the lens of time, the tech, and your memory. Here's something beautiful about VHS that no one really talks about. Every tape was a little different. Over time, each one took a life of its own, shaped by how many times it was watched, where it was stored, and who it belonged to. The more you watched it, the more it changed. The image might start to wobble during a favorite scene, the colors might fade in the first few minutes, the audio might dip or flutter in just one specific spot, the result of countless rewinds and playbacks over the years. A faint hiss, a soft hum, a tracking line that always appeared at the same moment, like clockwork. And that one's at random. VHS tapes are magnetic. Inside the plastic shell is a long, thin ribbon coated in tiny metal particles. That's where the video and sound are stored. Every time you play the tape, your VCR physically pulled that ribbon across spinning metal heads. It was all mechanical, with moving parts, gears, and friction. And here's the thing. If you had a favorite moment, maybe a song, a joke, a magical scene, and you rewound it to it over and over, you were literally wearing down that part of the tape. The ribbon would stretch slightly, the signal would weaken, the picture and sound would slowly degrade. Not everywhere, just there. So when your favorite moment started to flicker or warp, that wasn't just a glitch. It was proof. Proof of how many times that moment meant something to someone. And now, if you buy a used Disney VHS tape from a thrift store, an online seller, a dusty bin at a flea market, you're not just buying the movie, you're inheriting someone else's version of it. Their copy, their wear, their childhood etched into the static. You might even find their name scribbled on the spine, or a sticker from a long-gone video rental store, or a case that creaks differently when it opens. No two are exactly alike. Each one is a time capsule, a one-of-a-kind artifact, unintentionally personalized by years of love, use, and memory. That's something streaming services can't replicate. Not because it's bad, but because it's too perfect, too uniform, too clean. But VHS aged with you, and in doing so, it became something more. By now, you might be wondering, can this apply to any VHS tape, any old movie from the 80s or 90s? And the answer is yes, but also no. Because when we talk about VHS and childhood, we're often really talking about Disney. Disney didn't just produce memorable films, they dominated the home video market. For example, The Lion King sold an estimated 32 million VHS copies in North America alone, making it the best-selling VHS release of all time. Other Disney classics like Aladdin, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, and Toy Story also sold tens of millions of copies, a level of home video success that most live-action titles never came close to. And visually, Disney's hand-drawn animation looked especially magical on analog formats. The slight fuzziness and glow of VHS softened line work, enriched color palettes, and gave every frame a nostalgic haze. It didn't take away from the film, it amplified it. Other studios released animated films, sure, but Disney made it a ritual. Disney curated not just a library, but a shared emotional atmosphere. And today, nearly all of those same films are available to stream on Disney+. They're pristine, digitally restored, and accessible with a single click. But while streaming delivers clarity and convenience, it doesn't carry the same texture. For those of us who grew up with the VHS tapes, we remember them not just as stories, but as feelings. This video isn't about proving that VHS was better. It's about understanding why Disney, more than any other company, feels so deeply connected to that era. They didn't just define a format, they defined a generation's experience of growing up, and that's what made it different. And here's the thing, this feeling isn't gone. If you've been craving that warm, fuzzy sense of childhood comfort, you can still experience it. Maybe you have an old VCR stashed away somewhere, or maybe you'll find one at a thrift store or online for pretty cheap. Sure, getting a fully working one can be a bit of a gamble, but finding the VHS tapes, that's the easy part. Walk into almost any thrift store, and I'm willing to bet you'll see them a row of old Disney VHS tapes just sitting there waiting. No, you won't be a kid again while watching these, but honestly, that might be the best part. As kids, we often took things for granted. We didn't always realize how special something was in the moment, but now, as adults, we do. We've learned to notice the little things, to savor them, and when you rewatch these movies now, something else happens. You understand more. The jokes you missed, the messages you didn't fully grasp, the emotional beats that hit harder with time. And if you're someone who never got to experience VHS, maybe you were born after it faded out, that's okay. You can still enjoy it. You don't need to have grown up with it to appreciate what made it special. In fact, seeing it for the first time now, with fresh eyes and an open mind, might be a magical experience of its own. Because this isn't about reliving the past, it's about rediscovering how we used to watch. Slower, softer, more present. So, if this video has sparked even a tiny bit of curiosity in you, I hope you'll give it a try. Pick up a tape, pop it in, settle in, see how it feels. And if you do, let me know in the comments. Because honestly, if this video inspires even one person, young or old, to rewatch these films the old-fashioned way, that means more to me than the views or likes ever could. Thank you so much for watching.